Mary Avalon, welcome to Team Trek Podcast.
Thanks for having me.
It is an absolute pleasure. So just for the audience at home, you are a captain in the U.S. Air Force. Prior to being a captain, you served as an enlisted member, and prior to doing that, you were in the reserves. So you've kind of covered a lot of the...
Reserves was the enlisted part.
Okay. So you've covered a lot of the options as far as like the military service is concerned. But before we get into your military service, I want to go all the way back to where it all began. If you would, just take us back to where you're from and tell us a little bit about your family life growing up.
So born in New Orleans, Louisiana. I wish I could claim the coolness, but I moved when I was 2 to Virginia Beach. My dad was a lieutenant commander in the Navy. So he was a PA officer. My brother was born in Virginia Beach, and I lived there until I was in my late 20s, because I was running my own business. I bought my own business in 2006. It was a store called Virginia Sampler, specialized in goods and products that were made in Virginia and some touristy items, hams during Christmas, gift baskets, stuff like that. I bought it from the previous owner of the company who ran it for 21 years. And then 2009 happened. Okay,
well, before we get to that, I want to slow down. Okay, so Lieutenant Commander, what does that mean for the folks at home that may not know? And what's kind of in the Air Force, is that middle of the road? Is that a decent paycheck? Did you grow up with money?
I wish I could say I did.
Okay.
I did not. I don't remember much of him being in uniform other than it hanging in the closet in Virginia Beach. I believe he got out in the mid-'80s. He ended his career in the reserves. A lieutenant commander is an 04, so it's major for the Air Force, major for the Army as well.
Yes, correct.
Yes. And my mom said, it's time to step away from this and be with your family, and he did. And honestly, he always regretted it. So a field grade officer is so I think once you get to 04, that's considered a field grade officer, right? So that's more of you're teetering on the senior side of officer, correct? So you said you don't remember him being in uniform very much because he retired early on. How old were you when he retired? He didn't retire. He got out after he did 12 years. 12,
okay.
Yes, and I just remember growing up with him as a real estate agent in Virginia Beach area. We, middle-class family, sometimes we were broker than other times. I definitely had a hot dog and a slice of bread for lunch some days.
Okay.
Peanut butter and jelly. So not high money at any time.
Okay. So. How were you in school? Did you play any sports, social clubs?
Oh, I'm ADHD. My teachers told my parents that I was ineducable without medication in first grade.
Oh.
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
So they put me on Ritalin, and it was night and day. I was a skinny kid that could finally learn. And I middled my way through school. I never excelled, but I didn't really... I don't know. I was kind of ostracized by my peers. I was weird. I'm still weird, but I embrace it now, and I love it. And I know better how to interact with people now that I've done so, especially in a professional capacity.
Sure. Okay. So, going through high school, so you kind of graduated middle of the road in high school?
I graduated by the skin of my teeth.
You and me both, right? Okay, so nothing crazy in school though. Anything growing up that really stands out that I don't know, kind of pushed you one way or another?
I don't know. I've always pushed the envelope. I had fluorescent pink hair down to my waist growing up. I was always wearing clothes that I made myself. I really wanted to be a fashion designer when I grew up.
Very cool.
Yes,
okay.
I took the highest scores in the district in I don't remember what it stands for, DECA. It was a marketing fashion design type class. But I became disillusioned when I found out how oversaturated the market was with people that wanted to do fashion design. So now I'm doing it as an adult instead.
Okay. Well, that's That's one of the great things about the military is having a side hustle in the military is usually, pretty good. We end up with a lot of downtime during deployments where we can plan out, good business ideas. So
hey, if you need a party shirt, I'm here.
there you go. That is awesome. We'll have to get the information from that. We'll link it in the description down below. Get you guys connected to some cool party clothes. Okay, so high school finished up. Did you go to college? What did that look like?
Local community college and solidly average. I passed my classes. I got an associate's in general studies, emphasis on business management. Cool. So I took some accounting classes. I'm really surprisingly good at statistics.
That's awesome. Okay.
So yeah, my strength lies in numbers.
Okay, so general studies going through college. Did you go right into business right after you got your degree there?
Oh, I thought I wanted the American dream, the husband, the kids, the house, all that stuff. And I met my ex-husband when I was 22, and we married when I was 24. I had my son Aiden at 26. I believe he's still in construction. That he was a master carpenter. He's amazing at what he does. Super intelligent guy, really funny. Still one of the best looking men I've ever seen in my life. I can't deny him that. But our paths did not permanently align, and we moved apart and went our own ways amicably.
Okay.
But like I said, that comes down to the business that I owned. I worked for the company for 3-4 years, and then the owner of the company said, "Hey, thinking of selling." And I went home and I laughed. And Brian looked at me and said, "Does it make money?" I was like, "I don't know. I didn't ask." And I go back and I asked to see the books, and it makes money.
Okay.
So we took a second mortgage out on the house, and we bought the company.
Okay.
Yeah, sold it to me for a song. It was $10,000.
Okay, so you're a brand new business owner. How old was Aiden at this point?
Aiden had not been a thought in our head yet. This was 2006. He was born in 2007.
Okay.
So a lot happened in a few years.
Marriage, new business, and
child.
Then child.
Yes.
Okay. So tell me a little bit more about the business. How was that going?
Christmas rocked. Christmas was most of our money for the year. The rest of the year, the business paid for itself to exist. And then around Christmas time, we'd make about $30,000, $40,000.
Okay, so keep the lights on the rest of the year, and
yes.
then you pump it out during Christmas.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it was, long term, both working, it was sustainable until 2009.
Okay. And then what happened in 2009?
The economy collapsed.
Okay, so the housing market, this is about the time I came back from Okinawa, so I remember the housing market collapsed, but how was it for you?
When I was pregnant with my son, Brian's mom died.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And he took a long time to recover from that. It was very difficult. So he was grieving at the same time as the economy was tanking. And we had, his mother left us some money, and we bought a house with it. We moved out of the tiny little 1,100 square foot home we were in and moved into this 2,800 square foot home that we were rattling around in. Honestly, it was bigger than we needed, but it had a pool, and it was nice and big. It was fun to throw parties in, but at least we owned it when the economy collapsed, because if we'd had a mortgage, we would have lost the house too. But as it was, I shut down after Christmas 2009, packed up the business into a storage unit, and eventually I lost the storage unit. Yeah. It was, I'm sorry, 2008. Let me correct myself on that. The economy collapsed 2008. 2009 is when I realized that I couldn't keep it. I couldn't bring it back. That there was no way for me to sustain the company anymore. And I have a good friend, Blair, who's still out there, and I think he's still in Virginia even. And he joined the Air Force.
Okay.
And they sent him to Hawaii.
That doesn't sound horrible.
I mean, how do you beat that?
Sure.
But I didn't want to go anywhere, but I needed income. I needed something to guarantee that this accident-prone child, because I was an accident-prone child, and my son, he had a concussion by the time he was 2. So I knew I needed health insurance. I knew I needed money to go back to school because everybody that used to tell me, an associate degree, get an associate's degree, you'll be great, you'll smooth sail with an associate's degree. Now the tune was bachelor's degree.
Sure.
Bachelor's degree, bachelor's degree, bachelor's degree. And I don't have the money to go to school for bachelor's degree. Right. I don't have the money for health insurance. I barely have the money to eat. I had a point where we got so broke that I had enough money in my wallet to go to the pier and get on the pier and fish for our dinner.
Oh my God.
So I love fishing, so that's not a hardship.
It's just a rough thought, though. You're legit using what's left of your money to be able to pay the pier fee so you can go and try to catch dinner. That's rough.
Caught a massive spot in Croker. We had a fish fry that night.
Small victories, right?
Yeah, take them where you can get them.
Sure. Okay, so the business shuts down. The Air Force is looking promising, but you don't want to go anywhere.
I looked at the Coast Guard first.
Okay.
And then I talked to my dad, and I was like, "Hey, I'm thinking about going into the reserves because, I mean, it seems like I can give them roughly 6 months of my life between basic training and tech school, and then it's 2 weeks out of the year and 1 weekend a month, and that 1 weekend a month is enough to pay for the health insurance, for the TRICARE cost, for reservists,
right?
And that way I don't have to worry about the health insurance. I'll be covered, and that's just 1 weekend a month that I just go away, and nobody's going to miss me for 1 weekend. That's fine.
Sure.
But 6 months of training, and I'll be good to go for at least if I swear in for 4 years." I can use tuition assistance to get the education I need. And so we talked it over, and I talked to my dad, and I was like, "Dad, what do you think? Should I go in the Navy like you?" And he said, "No, you're going in the Air Force." I'm like, "Okay."
Smart choice.
So I went and I talked to a recruiter, and he lied to me.
Wait, no, the recruiters don't lie. Stop it, Mary. Don't do that. Don't put those guys on blast. What did this guy tell you?
He told me that Pope Air Force Base was 2 hours from Virginia Beach.
It is. Okay, first of all, anybody that's been to Fort Bragg, anyone that's been stationed there on DRF-1, right, to our recall, we know how far we can get in 2 hours. 2.5.
I think breaking many speed records, I made it home in 2.5 one time.
Touche. There you go. He didn't lie.
But I might have hit triple digits that trip. It was a 4-hour drive.
Okay, so Pope Air Force Base.
No Hope Pope.
I love Pope. Great golf course.
Yeah, not anymore.
I think they paved over it. They tend to pave over stuff really quickly after an incident, right?
Yeah, that was 2016. It finally bracked down. I cried when I watched that C-130 fly out.
Not bad.
Yeah.
Okay.
So no Hope Pope. I go to my recruiter. I take the ASVAB, and we get out ASVAB testing, and he's just shaking his head, and I'm like, "What'd I get?" He's like, You got a 99. I'm like, "Is that good?" He's like, "You can do anything you want." Like,
very nice.
Anything. Yes. So I'm still pretty proud of that score. My
you should be.
AFOQT was not that high. It was decent. It was decent. I got decent AFOQT, but that ASVAB, that's bragging rights.
That's great. So for those that don't know, before you join, you take. It's basically like an ACT or an SAT. It's just to see where you're at intelligence wise, if you have the aptitude to pick things up, and based off of the score you get, it determines your possible jobs, right? So I was a little bit lower than that, but I could still do pretty much anything in the Army. So not quite the bragging rights that you have, but there you go.
They offered me cryptolinguist, and I mean, looking back, I kind of wish I was scared to go to California for that long.
I would be scared to live in California too, so I don't blame you.
I was scared of so much about what this entailed, but I knew that I had a small human being that was counting on me for meals, for everything. And at least for that 6 months of my life, I knew the paychecks were coming in. And I got to base after training, and it's wild.
So what job did you
Finance.
get? Finance.
Yeah.
Okay.
I picked finance. I'm sorry.
Okay, no worries. So tell me about that. So base training, AIT, and then you land at Pope, or did you do all of those things at Pope Air Force Base?
No, basic training is Lackland.
Okay.
And I am still friends with a good number of my flight. We actually still have a Facebook group going, Flight B628.
That's excellent.
Yeah, and I've actually watched one or two of them commission as well. So
That's awesome.
I'm proud of us.
Very cool. Okay,
Yeah.
so talk me just real quick. Let's, I guess, anything in AIT. So Lackland was where you did basic training. And Lackland is where?
The San Antonio, Texas.
Was that your first time really leaving home,
Yes.
leaving the area? Okay.
Absolutely.
And Lackland Air Force Base it is.
It's an armpit.
How was basic training for you?
It was a mix. I mean, I liked about half my flight, which is, from my understanding, actually a pretty high amount of enjoying the people that you're with for that training. Sure. I enjoyed Beast Week when we were living in tents and I was catching scorpions because I'm a weirdo. I really like the shaped pork rib MRE. It's my favorite. My favorite. I scored really high when I was in basic as well and ended up with an honor grad ribbon out of that.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Wow. So you're just crushing everything you're doing.
Yeah. So far it was good. I mean, I think I remember getting sick once in basic, and that was rough. And our MTI, military training instructor, bring me Gatorade.
Oh, softies.
There's some of the wilder stuff that happened. We had lice outbreak in our flight.
Oh,
and
that can't be fun.
No. And I was the second oldest in the flight and the only one that had ever had to deal with head lice before. So I didn't sleep that night. Our MTI got us head lice kits, and I spent the entire night checking everyone or cleaning lice or teaching the other girls how to get lice out.
Those are the stories you remember, though.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yes. And somebody I still care for had an accident when she was running, and she comes back in, and dorm chief is yelling, "You shit yourself, you shit your..." And I'm just like, "Give me your shorts." And I washed her shorts. I'm a mom. Yeah. I have touched more shit than most people need to.
It's crazy. You might as well be a nurse, right?
You might as well be a nurse. Yeah, with the blood and no stranger to blood either. So that was some good memories. I totally did not make it on the rope across the water, straight in the water. Every training since.
We've seen videos of that.
Yep.
You know,
I'm in the water.
I was pretty good at that part. So you were smarter than me, but I was better at the rope. Okay, AIT, where'd that take you?
Tech school.
Tech school, yes.
Tech school is the lovely Biloxi, Mississippi.
Okay, so now you're in Biloxi. So you're going home now, basically. I mean, right next door to New Orleans.
Yeah, yes. And New Orleans is incredible. I didn't make it there while I was out in tech school.
Probably a good thing.
Yeah, I hated my flight. Hated tech school. There. Tech school was awful, absolutely awful, with the exception of my still best friend, Aji Bola, Tech Sergeant Aji. He's still my best friend, still my ride or die. He's been there through me wanting to kill myself in tech school because I was having such a hard time. And actually, I recently talked to him about that, and he said he had no clue I was that low, but he bought me the stuff to make breakfast waffles one day, and he doesn't know how much of an impact that had on my life at that time. It was just buying me the ingredients to make waffles.
That's awesome that you bring that up. Goes to show we're good at hiding it. Do you remember what it was that just got you there? Was it depression from being away from home, or what was it?
I had an NCO that did not like me, and she made it her mission to make my life miserable. And so I got room inspections that I failed. I'm a band geek. I was band flight and basic training. I played French horn in middle school, and so of course they put me on trumpet, because why would you put someone on a mellophone when they'd played?
Reed.
A mellophone is a marching French horn.
Okay.
And I'd played mellophone in marching band in middle school.
So with the reed and everything, right?
No reed. It's
reed.
A brass instrument.
Oh, okay.
Mouthpiece. And so
I didn't make the band. I'm sorry.
Basic training, band flight. So I continued wanting to be in the band when I got to tech school. So I joined band, and we were told that the band MTL, military training leader, would do our open ranks and inspections on our uniforms once a week, because we weren't going to be at our squadron for our open ranks. And this woman hated me. And so I brought her my phase up slip. I don't know if you guys phased up, where you went from, if you left the building, you had to be in uniform, to you could leave the building in civilian clothing, to phase 3 was you could leave base in civilian clothing. Okay. Oh my God.
Wow. Yeah. That's
astounding. The things that we're scared of when we're little young airmen and grunts and stuff, and terrified of NCOs. And this woman laughed at me when I brought my phase up stuff. So I went to the band MTL as another tech sergeant, NCO, all powerful. And she's like, why doesn't my open ranks count? I'm a tech sergeant. I'm an MTL. I count. And so she chewed out my MTL, who took it out on me and kept me on phase 1. I know that it sounds so petty looking back on it, but something as simple as not being allowed to wear civilian clothes out of your room.
Right. Especially when everybody else can, right? Like
yes.
If we're all going through the same thing, then fine.
Yeah.
But singling somebody out, that's a tough one to deal with.
But she'd pull me in her office and just scream at me and say, this is back when you could do stuff like that too. I know it's a kinder, gentler military now. You can't do things like that. You can't have a closed door with someone and just yell at them.
Did you catch Hegseth's speech the other day? He wants to bring back, those harder standards, not to say harder standards, but I know even hazing was somewhat mentioned. And
I have a mixed opinion on that.
Okay.
I'm stronger for it. I'm not going to say I'm not stronger for it. She was abusive. There's a difference between instilling respect and flagrant abuse. Sure. And she was abusive. But she definitely gave me one of my fueling factors to commission, which is anger. And I've talked to a couple higher leaders, generals even, about this, about the fact that my anger has fueled me to be where I am today. And they said that anger harnessed properly is an incredible tool. It is a sword in the hands of the right person. Sure. And that was the first time vindictively I wanted to be an officer so I could come back and she could never do that to me again.
That makes perfect sense. It really does. That resonates. So with every leader we have, it seems like you always have takeaways, things that you'll say, I will never do that. I will never act like that. I will never lead like that. Mm-hmm. And then from your good leaders, it's like, I will replicate that to the best of my abilities, right? So it's not unheard of to have leaders that you take bad things away from that help fuel you moving forward. But the abuse that you speak of, that's unsat. That needs to be fixed. And I realize there's a fine line between that hazing to where it's becoming abusive, or it's manning them up, if you will, making them do things that of course they don't want to do it.
So basic training, back to basic. our MTI pulled the two chunkiest girls in our flight. He said, "Who are my chubby bunnies?" Day one, "Who are my chubby bunnies?" And he made them road guards. They lost more weight than any of us. They were not chubby bunnies at the end of basic. So there is a place for that. I'm not saying calling somebody a chubby bunny is appropriate. It's not. But there's a level of capability that you have to be in the uniform, a level of fitness that you have to adhere to and be able to maintain.
Right. So with the singling out that we were talking about, right, it's when you single people out, they don't like it. They want to be part of the herd.
Yeah.
So, okay, yeah, I'm one of the chunky bunnies right now, but I want to be part of the herd, so I'll work my butt off. So sometimes it's beneficial to be separated like that and singled out. Sometimes it's not. How do you find that line?
Delicate. Good leaders.
Good leaders.
But I'll be honest, I have learned more from bad leaders than I have from good. I've had more takeaways from bad leaderships than I love the good leaders that I have been under, but the bad ones have really taught me the most. And our MTI, he sat us down at the end of basic and he said, "You don't want to be an MTI. My marriage is over. This is the worst job ever." During amnesty hour, he was just dead honest with us. He's like, this job has ruined my marriage. He hazed the heck out of the MTI that was training under him. He hated him. It was, I think as a flight, we were pretty together in our laughing at this other MTI. He was terrible. He'd march us into fences and stuff, and we'd just be laughing as we marched into a fence. So we collectively, I mean, we had we were each other's people. We were a flight. We were a team.
That's awesome. Okay, so was that your first real experience as being on a team where you collectively have the same goal, same mission?
Yes.
How'd you like that?
The triumphs were amazing. Some of the commiserating, this sucks, running sucks, marching sucks, everything sucks, band sucks, but it all sucked as a team. And they've done studies now. There was some MTI recently talked about how he told the flight exactly what he was doing. He says, "This particular instruction is meant to defeat you guys and make you unite together because it sucks so bad." He told them what the mental gymnastics were behind everything he did. It didn't impact how it affected them. Even knowing what they do, even if you know what they're doing to break you down and build you up, it works.
Sure.
Even if you know the psychology behind it, it works.
That's interesting.
Yeah, you can know what they're doing. They can tell you specifically what they're doing, and it's still going to work.
Okay, that's very cool. Okay, so now you're at Pope.
Yes.
Living it up there. How's that going?
It was interesting. I was financed back when we had paper travel vouchers.
Those are amazing.
We worked hand in hand with active duty, which is something I understand not a lot of offices do, because we were a reserve base. We were a C-130 mission reserve base. So we were there for the flyers. We were there for our pilots, our navs, our loadies.
The 82nd.
And yes.
That's why you were there.
We just carried you guys around.
You were there for the 82nd.
But I fell in love with the Load Master Squadron. Those were my buddies. They're still my buddies. I still talk to Chief Cutter's wife, really, Nina, because Chief Cutter kind of adopted me into the Loadmaster Squadron. I'd go over there and do paper travel vouchers with them because they were my bad kids.
Okay.
They were always behind on filing their paperwork. And because they were reservists, they'd fly 2 or 3 days. And they'd do this multiple times a month. And so they wouldn't be caught up. And so we'd have a backlog of unpaid travel.
Right.
And our numbers looked bad. So I would chase them down and get them paid out.
That is awesome.
Yeah, I loved it. And I loved the air crew mentality. They're a different breed.
They have the best. So I've noticed this. Pilots tell the best stories. They're the best storytellers. And I believe it's because of your all's crew rest. this, we can only fly for so long, then we've got to, have 12 or however many hours it is just off. I think that's what they do. They sit around and tell stories when they can't sleep, and that's what makes them very good storytellers.
I got 2 pilots that sit behind me right now. They're ridiculous.
Dude,
absolutely ridiculous. They're on the POM team. I'll have to get that acronym for you. Sorry.
No worries.
But they go and they fly and they talk about their fly time and stuff like that. And otherwise, they're just goofballs.
Big kids.
They are. They're awesome. But the C-130s, we were bracked. Technically, the brack started in 2009 when I came in, but it didn't brack down until 2016.
Okay.
The threat was there. We knew it was coming. But I partied with them. I watched all the drama unfold. We went to this stupid dive bar. Oh my goodness. It was called Pirates, spelled Pyrates.
I know.
You know Pirates, of course you do. You were out there. And the swamp right across the street. And we'd bounce back and forth. And I am lucky that I made it out of there.
Fort Bragg, Fayetteville, Fort Pope, that's a black hole. And anybody that gets out of there, they feel that, right? We feel lucky to have gotten out of there alive, because
if you've got a $2 bill, I know where you were. Secrets.
It's another story for another podcast. Anyway, okay. So, how many years do you spend as in the reserves before you transition over, and what changed?
Okay, so let's 2009 to 2016 when it bracked down. So technically, my DD-214, one of my handful, because every time you're on over 90 days of orders, you get a DD-214. So I have them like coupons.
Oh wow! Okay.
I think I have 5. Maybe 6.
Okay.
So, but let's take a stop in 2013.
Okay.
So, Airman Leadership School and the last major government shutdown, relevant.
Oh, that's right. We did shut down in 13.
So, I'm in Airman Leadership School, having a great time. I had a great team that I was working with. We made chili on Fridays. It was a good crew. I can tell you a lot of bad trainings, but the good trainings that I can say I've been to 4 really good trainings in my entire career, and this was one of them.
The Airman Leaders course?
Yes, Airman Leadership School. It's what you need to pin on E5.
Okay.
I wish I could tell you more about it, but on the last day of ALS, I got hit by a truck, and I have a lot of amnesia from that time frame.
Hit by a truck. Okay. That's not the usual graduation story you hear.
It's as bad and not as bad as it sounds. I got into a fight with cadre last day of class. Okay. So we were supposed to, based on the new enlisted performance review structure that they were rolling out, you could no longer 5-star firewall your airmen. You couldn't give them the highest marks on an EPR anymore. Okay. You had to slice it down the middle, and half your team was shit hot and the other half was garbage. Okay. So you couldn't just tell everybody in the shop that they were great anymore. They were making us grade our class based on that standard. And half of us had to be told we were garbage and half of us had to be told we were good. And I told them this is unethical and I'm not doing it. I said there's nobody here in this class that doesn't deserve to be here, that did not want to be here, and that did not put in to be in this class. And there are people that are turned away from this class. So I'm not going to tell anybody in this class they're garbage, because not a single person here is. They're all valid. So I was pretty ticked off that day. Okay. So after we cut out, I ran 3 miles. I ran 3 miles that morning too. And so I did 6 miles that day, and I called up some friends out near Raleigh, and we said we would meet up halfway and grab dinner, because I'd passed my final test and I was riled up about this argument I'd gotten into with my teachers. And they told me that I didn't have to participate, but I had to sit in and I had to hear the results. And I ranked a little above halfway, but it was a popularity contest. Right. And that's bullshit. It shouldn't be a popularity contest. If you have a shop that's all hot airmen, you should be able to tell them that. If you have a shop that's garbage, you should tell them that too. You shouldn't be afraid to give people true feedback, but it can ruin their career too, which is what we're all scared of.
Sure.
Which is why they're trying to do that, but it's still not ethical. So anyway, I digress. I go to dinner with my friends, and that's the last thing I remember is listening to my audiobook. I was listening to Divergent. Good book, good movie. And that's all I got for 2 weeks. When I came to in the hospital, and this is all manufactured, I've got to tell you that ahead of time. I found out that I had been on my way back, and I'd been less than a mile from my dorm when I had been T-boned by a small Ford truck, just a little Ford Ranger truck, nothing big, but it had hit the driver's side door of my Honda Civic, little bitty tiny 2-door Honda Civic, poor 96 Honda Civic with 240,000 miles on it.
Wow.
Like that car didn't know me anything. And when it hit me, parts of the car came into the car, and my face was ripped open from my left near my ear all the way to the corner of my mouth, from my forehead all the way down through my eyebrow, and my eye was sliced open. My teeth were shattered. T1 through T4 of my spine, all the pieces of spine that come off the left side are all broken off. My ribs were broken. Every internal organ was bruised. My lungs were full of blood, and my pelvis was shattered, and I had a traumatic brain injury. So I lost half the blood out of my body, out of my face that night. The paramedics that pulled my body from that car thought that they were pulling a cadaver out. They didn't think that I was alive when they pulled me out.
Oh my God.
And I woke up. I say I woke up, but I have scattered memories that I'm not sure are what people have told me or real memories. I remember neon flowers because neon daisies are my favorite. Those crappy grocery store bouquets that are $5.99. They make me so happy. They live forever. I remember those being there. I remember General Scanlon was at my bedside. And I remember the chief at the time, he came to my bedside. All my friends showed up at some point or another. My roommate, not roommate, one of my best friends at the time, who ended up being a roommate for a while, Renee, she came to see me. Love her. My mom, they didn't know who I was at first because my, you know how we have the phone cases and we have wallets on them now?
Yes.
Well, I used to just pop my case out and throw my ID and my credit cards in the back of my phone case.
Right.
So they didn't know who I was. My car was in my ex's name. So my name on all my hospital paperwork is Topeka Code Trauma.
Oh.
And they put me back together as best they could. Several transfusions later, they brought me via ambulance to Duke University to have my pelvis put back together. So your pelvic socket is called an acetabulum. And in the wreck, my acetabulum was cracked. But because I'm the amazing person I am, stubborn, they told me not to sit up. And I sat up in the hospital, and it cracked all the way through.
Oh.
So they had to send me to the doctors at Duke University to actually put my acetabulum back together. I spent 13 days in the hospital. I went through withdrawals from opioids when they took me off of Dilaudid, I think was the first one. My mom told me that I woke up when they took me off of that after 5, 6, 7 days, and they moved me to some other oxy or something. And I called her and I said, "Mom, why am I in hell? Why am I on fire?" And she tells me that she said, babe, you're hallucinating. I'll be right there. And I was hallucinating that I was in hell, and I was telling her, I don't even believe in hell. I've told you I'm not religious, but I was having hallucinations, and with the traumatic brain injury, I know I'm jumping a little bit back and forth, but initially when I got to the hospital, I was, if you've seen 50 First Dates, there's a guy called 10 Second Tom.
Yeah.
And he resets.
Yes.
That was me every 10 minutes. Every 10 minutes, I would snap to and go, Where's my phone? Where's my purse? Where's my phone? Where's my purse? And my mom would ask the doctors, is she going to be okay? Is this going to stop? And with the traumatic brain injury, the doctor said, we don't know. She might never come back. So they gave her no expectations. It took 2 days before I settled back in, and I started being able to have conversations without resetting again.
Wow.
But I can give you some pictures of that time if you're not squeamish. It was pretty gnarly. My face was, they didn't want to give me a mirror. They didn't want me to see my own face. And
wow.
Yeah, and Brian got the call. He called my mom, and she just took off. She said, keep Aiden until you can, Aiden's our son. Take care of Aiden. I'm going. And she made it from DC to the hospital in 2.5, 3 hours. She broke every speed record.
Oh, wow.
And then she cared for me during my whole recovery.
So that's 2013. Started with the hip surgery.
That was October 22nd of 2013 that happened. And the Air Force dropped every ball they could. In my recovery, I was forced to come back to the base every 30 days to get my convalescence leave, to have doctors lay eyes on me and get my convalescence leave renewed. Do you know how bad that hurts to be in a car with a pelvis that is barely repairing? It was awful. It was agonizing. And this is every month for 6 months of recovery. And it's took me a solid 6 months to recover from that. But
so you were basically supposed to be on bed rest during that time.
Yes. And yet I was forced to get in a car and go 4 hours to come check in so the Air Force could lay eyes on me. And that makes me a little angry. But during that time of my recovery, there was a tech sergeant that was supposed to be handling my paperwork so that I would have at-home care during this time period. And she dropped the ball. And so I had no at-home care for the first 2 weeks because she didn't do her job. And I finally get to base, and my mom wheels me in my wheelchair into the room to see the doctor. And the doctor walks in, looking at her clipboard, not even looking at me, and says, so, you want to be medically retired? And this is so cliche. I'm sorry, it's so cliche, but I looked up, injured, face still stitched together, and I said, no, ma'am, I want to be an officer. That's
wow.
And then this retired lieutenant colonel, I found out, looks at me and really looks at me. And then she fought for me the rest of the time. She was instrumental in my commissioning. She was amazing.
There are good ones out there.
Yes. But I understand if you're walking into somebody that's that broken, I mean, that's the easy way out, right?
Sure.
Full medical. I mean, that's 100% TMP, baby.
Yeah.
I am a mangled wreck. I mean, I'm scarred the full left side of my body from it looks like a Wolverine got a hold of my arm. My face has settled down a lot. You guys are getting the good side. But I'm always going to smile crooked. My front teeth are fake. And I don't know what I don't know because I don't know what I lost with the brain damage.
Okay.
but I maintained enough to stay in the military. But that was a fight.
That's incredible. Can you talk me through that recovery a little bit?
So I was already working on a bachelor's degree.
Okay.
And so part of my recovery was spent finishing my bachelor's degree.
Good.
I finished that in 2014. And October, November, December, January, February, March, April. April is when I was released. So I worked with physical therapy. I worked with the Navy. I got to go over to the Navy base for all my physical therapy. And their team was awesome.
Okay.
And they were the biggest cheerleaders and the most amazing team for my recovery. And it was actually on one of these trips, we were still fighting with TRICARE. $500 ambulance bill that I shouldn't be paying. And we're still trying to get everything lined up. And we end up in the TRICARE office at the Navy base. And this older gentleman he looks at me and says, "You don't deserve to be going through this crap right now." He says, "But you know what? God didn't do this to you because you need to be strong, because I can tell just talking to you, you're strong. You're going to make it through this. You're going to be fine on the other side of this. God did this to you because you're going to need to tell this story, because somebody's not going to be as strong as you." Those profound words are still with me, and they are a big motivating factor on the resilience work that I've done and the people that I go out and I try to help with that. But let's move forward to April.
Okay.
I'm running again, because why the hell not? Yeah, I am stubborn. I am so stubborn. So I'm running. I finished my bachelor's degree. I'm fighting. I fought a med board and I won. And after I won fighting the med board, I submitted my package to commission. And I got it. The first time.
That's incredible. So how big of a time span are we talking about from 2013, October, when you got in the accident, to when you're running and dropping your packet to commission?
October timeframe. It was that quick. Yeah, it was July, August, September, October. Yes.
So a year from the accident.
Yes.
You're back to fully mission capable, able to PT and do all the things you need to do. Mm-hmm. Drop your packet to commission, and that's after a hip surgery. Mm-hmm. That's incredible. You are like the bionic woman. Yes,
right. $1 million woman, something like that. I'm a cyborg.
Yeah,
I'm a cyborg. I just had this argument with my wife too.
I had a shoulder surgery and couldn't hang from a bar for 2 years, and somehow you have your hip fused back together and you're able to run in less than 8 months. Yeah, that's incredible.
Determination. And I got picked up the commission. I was supposed to leave January of 16, and my recruiter called me up a week before I was supposed to leave and told me I'd been medically disqualified.
Because of what?
I asked him, I said, on what grounds?
On what grounds?
And one of the issues was a feminine issue. One of the issues was my traumatic brain injury.
Okay.
And migraine headaches.
So you can be enlisted.
Yes.
And you can be in the reserves.
Yes.
But you can't commission.
So I got really upset and I asked him if there were waivers, and he said, no, there's no waivers. I got really upset and I cried. And then I got really frustrated. And then I got angry. And then I filed an appeal.
Perfect.
And then they medically DQ'd me on 3 more things.
Okay. That didn't go the direction I was expecting.
And this time I was at my friend, one of my coworkers, a girl named Adela. I was at her house and I put my head into a pillow and I screamed. I screamed for 5 minutes. I was so mad. I was enraged.
After all of that, yeah.
Yeah. And so I said no. I filed another appeal. They rejected it one more time. They said it was on the Surgeon General's desk, and he'd rejected it. And then I filed a congressional. Okay. And I, to this day, am not certain whether it was the congressional or General Scanlon, but General Scanlon called me and said, Mary, why haven't you left yet? I said, sir, I don't know. I don't know. This is what's going on. And either he had some buddies he talked to, or this congressional went through. But the very next week, I got a call from my recruiter, and my date was January of 2017, a year.
Okay.
A year after. So frustrating. So I leave in January of 2017, and I made it through basic officer training. And that was also not one of my favorite trainings, although I met some of my best friends there, so, some of which I was talking to on Teams today.
Okay.
Yeah. So
what was it about the officer candidate? Was it officer candidate school?
OTS.
OTS.
Yes.
Officer training
school.
School. Okay.
Yes. And it was, my class sucked. I did not like my classmates. But overall, I love the best friends that I got out of it.
So the ones that didn't have a stick up their butt are your BFFs, everybody else?
Yeah. Yeah, I think there might have been 2 people in my class that were cool, but man, these girls are catty.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, I don't know. The 2 girls that were in my class were just awful. But the rest of it was work. So it went fast. I knew what the training was about because I've been through basics. So I'm kind of laughing as these tech sergeants are screaming in our faces and yelling at us for not knowing whatever was in this booklet of information that we had to read whenever we were standing at ease. And I was in great shape because I had pushed myself so hard. And so I made it through just fine. And then I got my active duty assignment, and Hanscom Air Force Base.
I've never even heard of that.
That's what I said.
Okay.
That's what I said.
Hanscom?
Hanscom. Okay. Yes. Not handsome, Hanscom. It's in Bedford, Massachusetts. I'd say it's 20 minutes from Boston, but Boston's an hour from Boston, so it's an hour. It's an hour
Okay.
from Boston in decent traffic. But the tiniest base, you can run gate to gate in under 20 minutes. I think it's less than a mile and a half between the gates.
Wow, that's tiny. Okay.
It's microscopic. It's an acquisitions base.
Oh.
So high level, super intelligent, and I had just left my husband. So a lot going on there. I moved my mom and my son up there with me, and I left my husband behind.
Okay.
And
You said you guys split amicably?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we talked about it, and we were done. And I was kind of dated my way through Boston. It was it was a fun time. But actually, I met my wife at a dance studio, Avalon dance studio.
Very cool.
To be exact, yes.
Wow.
So I was taking ballroom dancing lessons, and I would lead as often as I would follow because there were usually more women than men. So
Okay. But Avalon, no relation?
no, we chose our name from the dance studio when we decided we wanted that she didn't want my last name, which was still my ex's because neither one of us care.
Sure.
I was like, do you care if I keep this? He's like, no, I really don't. So I kept the last name until then. And she's like, I don't want your ex's last name. And nobody was surprised when I ended up with a woman. Nobody in my entire life was surprised.
Okay.
So it was interesting, and that it was I had some rocky times there, figuring myself out. But acquisitions is it's a lot of money. Playing with billions of dollars.
Oh.
Big projects. Some of them more interesting than others. Nothing I was really working on was fantastic. Not fascinating even. I worked with the DCGS office, and first abusive supervisor I ever had. Oh my goodness.
Okay.
Yeah. Speaking of, she was civilian though. And, that was another hard point because she was sending me into panic attacks, and I filed an IG complaint against this woman. I still have all of the allegations in a file on my computer that I occasionally, if I feel like somebody is slighting me, and I'm not sure, I go back and I read all of the things that I let be said to myself and let be done to myself. And I reflect on those to see just how far I let somebody push me before I said something. And she would humiliate me in meetings. She would, it was COVID crackdown happened while I was there, 2020.
Okay.
And my pipes in my house burst and my ceiling caved in.
Oh.
And she commented, "It's not winter. Why would your pipes burst?"
Like she didn't believe you, or?
Yes. And it was little things like that, but you don't know how much that gets to you until you've been dealing with it for 2 years.
Right.
And being humiliated in front of other people, and just things like, "You've been here for 6 months and you don't know his name?" Like, I haven't worked with this man.
Sure.
I asked one of the directors, what he was in charge of, and she's like, "He's the director of this program. You should know that." And I'm like, it's just, it's little bitty things, but when you start lining them up and you realize how repetitive they are and how it's only you and one other male person that is being treated this way, it was a laundry list. And when I took it to the IG, he's like, he basically insinuated that I wasn't the only one out there that this was happening to. And when I left that office before anything was done, but the director reached out to me, the new director, and she said, "I'm sorry for what you dealt with, but for what it's worth, this may mean nothing to you. She will never supervise another military member."
Good. So
after that,
they took care of it.
The claim was unsubstantiated, as they say.
Okay.
But they took action.
Okay.
So when I finally did speak up, it was taken care of. But it took a long time to speak up, and I was scared. And I went to... I always end up with the chaplain for some reason. I went to the chaplain.
Chaplains are great.
The chaplains are amazing. They are one of our best resources in the military, and 100% confidentiality. So you can't beat that. There's no other office that can tell you that. You can literally say that you're going to unalive somebody, and they can't do anything. Well, they can follow you home and sit on your doorstep.
Right.
But I went to the chaplain, and before I came forward with all of this information, I was like, "Should I?" And he said, "There's not a right or wrong answer on this one. You are going to need to do what's right for you, and you're about to move. You're about to PCS away. And so this is going to have no bearing on you in a month.
Right.
So if you do this right now, you're putting yourself under a lot of pressure. You don't have to do this. But at the same time, I don't think you're the type of person that's going to let her do it to someone else."
Bingo. That's it.
And that was one of the scariest, most gut-wrenching things I've had to do. It was freaking awful. It was gross. I mean, you relive all these things every time you write them down, and to have to give them to somebody to make them real, that somebody else has to read this. But I'm literally having panic attacks at my house. I was not functional because I was scared of what the next day was going to bring with this woman. She's dead now. Oh. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. I don't wish anybody dead, but there are people that I'm not unhappy to hear that they're not around. So, big deep breath. Speaking of the PCS, what took me away from Hanscom was a calling. I saw a job on the hot jobs list for a SARC, sexual assault response coordinator.
Okay.
That was, I'd always wanted to help people. I dabbled in looking at psychology degrees and stuff. I hadn't made any moves towards a master's degree yet or anything, but I saw this job and I really wanted to help people.
Would you be changing jobs completely, or is that an additional duty onto your...
It's a special duty assignment.
Okay.
You have to be selected for it. You have to put in an application, interview, be selected for it. And I looked at Melissa, my wife, and I was like, okay, I really want this job. And she's like, go for it, babe. I'm like, but here's the locations. Where are you willing to relocate to? Because when she met me, she swore she was never going to leave Massachusetts.
Okay.
And so the choices were Hawaii and Eglin on the list.
Hawaii sounds amazing.
I know. And I talked to Melissa about it, and she's like, I'm not ready to be that far away from my support system yet.
Sure.
And I said, okay, Eglin it is. So I applied and I got it and I moved there, and it was it was COVID. It was COVID. It was a hard time because we're all masked, we're all locked down, PCSing during that. You had to get a commander's exemption to do that.
Sure.
And then we get, oh my goodness, the PCS, crazy story. Melissa drove down so that we'd have the car. Okay. And I flew with the cats. I have 2 cats and our son. And she got there 2 weeks before us. And day 1, she's video chatting us, showing us this amazing house that we bought sight unseen. We got a video tour of it before we went.
Okay.
And she's showing us this incredible house, and all of a sudden her head whips around. I'm like, what's up? She's like, I think car wreck just happened out front. I'm like, well, go look. So I'm nosy. And she gets out front and somebody's run over our mailbox. On day 1.
Okay.
Run over our brick mailbox. There's a car in the middle of our yard. She's like, I think I have to go. So that was the start of it. So
what happened there?
Somebody not paying attention, texting and driving, whatever. We don't know. We don't care. They took out our mailbox.
Welcome to your new home.
Welcome to your new home. So I get down there with Aiden, getting settled in. And here's the next PCS fun. I'm the builder. I'm the putter together of furniture.
Perfect.
Today I replaced the cabin and engine air filters in the car. I am that person.
Impressive. Okay.
Yes, thank you. I did it all. And I'm putting together a dresser, and she has new hardware for the front of the dresser that doesn't quite line up with where the handles that were originally drilled for this dresser go.
Right.
So I'm drilling new holes. I got the drawer on top of the dresser. The drawer slips and falls point first into my middle toe, snapping it clear in half. Not just to tape it together snap, but three days later, they're stubborn again. I wouldn't go to the ER because it's a broken toe. What are they going to do?
Right, they're just going to tape it.
They had to surgically fix it.
Rod right down the middle.
Right. They let me pull it out.
Yeah, there's no feeling in your bone. It's just disgusting.
It was weird.
Oh.
It was so weird.
So again, welcome to your new home.
Okay.
So car accident in your front yard, broken toe.
Wait for it.
And you haven't even shown up to work yet, have you?
I barely.
Okay.
No, I still think I was on house hunting.
Permissive. Yes.
Yes. So 30 days into my time in the office, you're deploying.
So you took your wife from her support system up in Mass.
Yeah.
Right down to Florida.
Yeah.
And hey, we're going to be here about 30 days before I leave.
No, 90 total. You have to be on station 90 days before you're deployable.
I don't think we follow that rule, but okay.
Yep. 91 days, I'm out the door. Yep, October 16th, out the door.
Afghanistan?
No. The worst place ever, the deed. LUD Air Base. During COVID. So your first 2 weeks are spent in the trailers with rats and roaches and masked if you're out and about. And
They're not that bad.
they weren't. It was kind of some of the best time of that deployment. So I get out there, and it's slow going for a SARC. With COVID, the number of sexual assault incidents is very low. And
During COVID.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because I mean, we're all stuck in we're not allowed to congregate, we're not allowed to drink, we're not allowed to do anything. So
Numbers are declining.
numbers are down.
Good.
I think I only responded to a few incidences, but yeah, we'll dive into it. I was bored, and I was in a job that I probably shouldn't have taken, and I started self-destructing. I had never recovered from my own trauma. Nobody goes into that job without some trauma. Nobody takes a role as a sexual assault response coordinator or a VA, victims advocate, any of those jobs without having someone close to you or having had something happen to you yourself. And I had something happen earlier in my life that I had never faced. And I started self-destructing. I had too much time on my hands, and the few incidences that I responded to were incredibly triggering. And so I started brewing alcohol. I wasn't getting drunk. I've always brewed as a hobby.
Okay.
And all you need is fruit juice, sugar, and a vessel, and some water. And so I was brewing booze deployed, and my batch exploded. And you could smell it in the hallway, and it smells like bread. But yeah, security forces got called, and that was in December. Yeah, December. So October, November, December. I'd been deployed for 2 months. I think I'd been deployed about a little over a month when I figured out I could make alcohol.
Okay.
And I wasn't getting rip-roaring drunk or anything. I was just self-destructing, self-sabotaging, not recognizing the signs of it. And I got caught, and I got an Article 15. I got $800 forfeiture of pay and a 6-month delay on my captain's rank. So I got sent home stripped of my credentials. I can never hold that job again. Ever. And that hurts. I left people vulnerable by what I did. So I got back to the States. It's the best leader I've ever had. Colonel Justice. And yes, that's actually her last name.
That's beautiful.
I stepped off that plane, a shell of the human that I am. And she told me, you're not defined by what happened. You're defined by what you do moving forward.
That's right.
That was in the airport. All these these amazing people have said amazing quotes to me along the way, I guess. Given me strength when I've needed it. That's what these people have done. And I got back, and I started jobbing, went back to work. And she comes to me one day, and she's like, "Hey, I think you need to be an RTA, a resiliency training assistant."
Okay.
And I was like, "What's that?" And she's like, "It's basically suicide prevention trainer stuff. You teach classes on skills that help you be resilient." I'm like, "Oh, that sounds amazing." I looked into it, and I said, "Ma'am, I have to politely and respectfully decline because I have paperwork in the last 2 years." And she says, "I override it." And so she gave me back a piece I lost, the job that I self-destructed on. She gave me back a purpose. So I loved that. I was finally back in that job. So the 6-month mark, I'd go to her, and I was like, "I got my bars ready. I've done all the things you want me to do. I've tried to do my job as best as I can, gone above and beyond, volunteered at every opportunity, tried to do everything." And she said, "I'm sorry. Your paperwork's sitting on a desk in Congress somewhere, and they haven't. I can't promote you until they fix your paperwork.
They flag it, or
It's just sitting on some damn desk. I mean, it goes to be reviewed when you have an Article 15 and any type of disciplinary rank based. It goes to be reviewed. I don't know. Dark hole of Congress. That's all I know.
Okay.
I don't understand the process. I was supposed to be reinstated 6 months after the incident. So, 6 months after I was supposed to put on captain in March. So April, May, June, July, August, September. Here we are.
Okay.
Supposed to be reinstated. October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May, June of the next year. I'm under a different commander. I'm wondering if somebody's decided it's my time to leave and they're figuring out how to kick me out. My self-doubt was awful.
Sure.
I hated everything. It was some of the worst days of my life. And the commander I was under gave me so much self-doubt. And I feel like if they could have taken it away, they would have. It was so hard. I had days when I couldn't get out of my car. Sitting in my driveway. Wondering if I deserved everything I was going through. Let me tell you, $22,000 in back pay is a beautiful thing.
Okay.
Yeah. So it finally did go through. And they delivered the news. I'm still moderately entertained by it, but not entirely. I was brought into an office for a meeting. They said they had an emergency session. And that they were doing we were in the middle of a restructuring anyway, where we were moving our airmen around because we rotate airmen through the different positions and everything, and it would determine who's been in one spot for too long and who needs to learn a new system, a new whatever.
Broadening.
Yeah, exactly. And we'd just done that rack and stack earlier that day, and I get called into the office, and your rank's all jacked up. You need to fix yourself. Like, I mean, it's a LT bar. He's like, fix your rank, and hands me a captain rank. And that's, I mean, I 10 months of self-doubt, 10 months of wondering if somebody had figured out how to end my career, how to kick me out, 10 months of continuing to try to do my best, even though I was cracking and struggling. And Melissa, oh my God, poor Melissa. I mean, Melissa had to second and third order effects.
Yeah.
I was the breadwinner. I dragged her away from her entire family, only to leave her behind, only to almost end my career. I mean, she talked to my best friend. She and Aji or Ajibola are cordial with each other. But, I mean, he's my male best friend. So my partner is not always their biggest fan, obviously.
Sure. That makes sense.
She called him and asked him what to do. And he said, love her. Or something to that effect. I'm sure she'll correct me when she listens to this. But she's not here to correct me. So that was it was tough. And I finally put on captain, and I still spent every day shocked looking down at that rank and still feeling that imposter syndrome, still feeling like I didn't deserve it, feeling like it could be taken away any day, feeling like they were going to figure out that I was a piece of shit, that I was an awful person, that I was a complete failure. And that was a lot. And I had this incredible wife at home telling me how amazing I was the whole time. And telling me that regardless, that we could burn it to the ground. That's what we say all the time. We can burn it to the ground. Burn it all to the ground. We're going to go get rid of the house, liquidate everything, and we're going to get an RV and we're going to go work at festivals. That's our burn it to the ground strategy.
Okay.
But right now we're not burning it to the ground. Not yet.
So you have your ride or die. Undoubtedly.
God, yeah. She's everything I'm not. She's so organized, and she's so freaking smart, and she's the empathy level. Just she gets me better than I get myself. She's everything I didn't know I needed, and she's so confident in herself, and she's not humble at all. She knows she's smart. She knows she's talented. She runs 3 or 4 different businesses. I just gave her the freedom to quit she quit a nearly 6-figure job to go with me.
Wow.
Yes. And I said, quit your job, come with me. And so she quit her 9-to-5 corporate America job, and she does art and marketing. And she just got picked up for another part-time position lately that's with another marketing company. It's a good gig for her.
She sounds amazing.
She is. And she can juggle all this, and she handles the teenager, which I can hear her rolling her eyes from here. He's such a handful. So let's do another fast forward. I'm working in this office. I'm not under a commander I really like. I have a primary duty as a UDM right now, a unit deployment manager. Okay. So that all happened in 2020 and 2021. All that chaos of my life was 2020, 21. 22, get through it. 23, I'm the UDM and my line comes up.
Your line, what does that mean?
My line, when you're a tip fed time, phase, deployment, there's a listing that comes down each day of deployments. Okay. And basically there's a set of numbers and indicators that tell you what body goes in that slot. Okay. And my job was to assign bodies to those slots when they came up based on a lot of different criteria, whether the person was trained to that position, the right rank, the right upgrade training, the right medical clearance, the right security clearance, all of these things. Okay. And my line was on there. And I went to the commander, I said, "This is my line." And he said, "Looks like it's your redemption tour."
Redemption, okay.
Same place.
Oh, back
to the D.
Back to Qatar.
Back to Qatar, same time of year.
23.
23.
Okay.
2 years later, well, 3 years later, technically. Same time of year, same place. And when I got there, they put me in the building where I got my paperwork, the wing building, headquarters. And they found out that I had previously been a SARC, and they tried to make me the SARC. They tried to give me the SARC phone. They tried over and over and over and over and over to give me the one thing that I could not have. And I thought they were fucking with me.
I was going to ask you, is it?
I thought they were watching me. I thought they were fucking with me. I thought they were setting me up. I was running circles in my head. And okay, step back a bit. When I found out I was deploying, I'm lucky I was the UDM. Taskings drop 6 months before a deployment in a perfect world.
Sure.
I knew 6 months before I was deploying. I knew in February that I was deploying in October. I had lots of time. I realized that I was going to crash and burn. I realized that if I didn't do something to help myself, if I didn't identify what happened, that I was just going to go back into the same place and I was going to crash and burn, and that there's not going to be there's no coming back again. If you can't figure this out and if you can't straighten yourself up. So I went to mental health and I told them I want to see somebody off base because I don't trust mental health. I don't know. I'm sure this is a recurring theme, but I don't trust mental health at all.
You're giving somebody else the keys to your future.
This is my future. This is and I get in there and I said, hey, I'm going back to this place and I need some help. I need to work through some stuff. And they're like, okay, are you going to hurt yourself or others? I'm like, no, unlikely. Might take my career, but no, I'm not going to tank my career. I'm not going to hurt myself or others. And once they were sure of that, they said, okay, you can go off base. And my therapist is the best therapist I've ever had. She's amazing. She's a battle axe, and she calls me on my bullshit. Well, she's retired now. Damn her. Jane, come back. But she, through intense therapy and EMDR.
Okay.
We did EMDR and we worked through rape trauma from my teenage years. And not only that, but with the therapy, we discovered that I had been raped by another perpetrator that I had blocked out in my teens, in my 14 and 15. And I'd never talked about it. I'd never gone to therapy. I thought I could save other people without doing the work on myself. I thought I could maybe help somebody through the hardest point of their life that I'd had to face. And instead, I'd just been re-triggered and re-triggered and re-triggered and self-destructed. And I did the work. I did 3 months. Here's the part where we might take this out. We might not. I don't know how much trouble I can get in. We did 3 months of therapy before the military said you can't be under the care of a therapist within 3 months of a deployment.
So 3 months prior, you had to
stop.
You stopped seeing your therapist.
I'd made massive breakthroughs. I'd done so much work. I had unpacked so much, and I had pushed this trauma. I'd made this trauma not only manageable, but something that I can talk about with you right now. And I cry about my humiliation, but I'm not crying talking about what I went through back then. And we'd broken through the fact that it wasn't even the rape itself. It was the court case where a 14-year-old had been told that she was a piece of trash and that she'd brought this on herself.
Jesus.
Yeah. I call that Little Mary. And that's like, there's this child inside me that has never recovered from that. And they can't do that anymore. But they could back then. In the 90s, they could do that. And it was disgusting.
That is absolutely disgusting.
So it was being on the stand that had really traumatized me more than anything else. And I wanted to be there for other women, men as well, going through that. And I'd never recovered. And with Jane's help, I walked through all of this, and I through EMDR worked it. When we first started working, she said, "Where are you feeling it?" I said, "In my throat. I can't breathe. I'm choking, but there's too much air." And working through EMDR in cycles, after a half hour, 45 minutes, I don't know how long the time period was, she said, "Where are you feeling this? What are your emotions?" And I said, "My stomach. My stomach hurts." And she goes, "Stop. We're going to stop there for a minute and talk about this. You've just processed a raw emotion. You've just processed a death wound, a throat wound, something that would kill you. And you have processed it and you feel it in your body and you've brought it down to a gut wound. A gut wound is survivable, Mary.
Wow.
And we kept pushing and pushing until we got to a point where there's discomfort, but it's the discomfort of an old injury. It's not the gushing wound of an arterial tear. It's something that I can talk to. And I'm not very public about that because it was something hard that I had to go through. It was something I almost destroyed my career once and I couldn't afford to do it again. And I wanted to be better for this deployment. And I want to retire. Hello.
Right.
I'm so close now. But yeah, back to the deed. Same place, same time of year, same building, people wanting me to do the job that I can't do, that I failed at. And asking me why I can't. And I just told them, I don't hold those credentials. I can't be accountable for confidentiality. And that was the truth. But it's all I could tell them until the director of staff asked me one more time, Lieutenant Colonel. I said, sir, I need to come clean. I said, you have me in this wing building. You have me in an office right down the hallway from where a lot happened. And I told him everything that I've told you today. And this incredible man, this humble man, started crying and apologizing to me. It assured me that I was doing an incredible job in the few weeks that I'd been there. I was doing I had boots on the ground, and they told me that I was financed when I deployed, and I had boots on the ground, and they're like, "Oh, you're our new director of A9." I'm like, "What's that?" They're like, "We don't know. we're moving to A staff, and we're figuring this out. But we need a director of A9, so that's what you're going to do." And I'm like,
"You're it." Okie
dokie. I'm not going to say I've ever been a self-starter before that, but I rocked that job.
Nice.
So while I was there, I couldn't be a SARC, but what I could do was harness those resiliency training skills, and I was now a Master Resilience Trainer. I'd gone through the course to upgrade from an RTA to an MRT, and we still had our badges that we were allowed to wear, our job indicator badges that we're not allowed to have anymore. Gone through a lot of changes lately. And I wore an MRT badge around. And I had people that kept stopping me and said, "You're an MRT or MRT?" And I'm like, "Yes, Master Resilience." Yeah, no, I know what it is. Do we have a resilience program out here? And I'm like, first time I was like, I don't know. Second time I'm like,
we do now.
I need to look into it. And third time I said, we're going to make it happen.
Nice.
So I took it upon myself to find all the other MRTs. Gonzo! Master Sergeant Gonzalez Lanas. Most incredible man in the world. Oh my God, you need to get him on this.
Set it up.
Yep, I will set you up with Gonzo, because this man, he made that deployment for me. He and I started this resilience program, and we ended up with over a dozen MRTs and RTAs. We started an Airmen for Life program where we had people release their E1 through E4, I believe it was, to be a part of this program that was just, we played sports and did learning, team building exercises. And it was one day a week, 2 classes that we taught, and they had to be released to do this class. But it was incredible. And we created, the Airmen for Life program started in Germany.
Okay, I've heard of it.
Yes. And it's been adopted at a lot of bases, but it's made to help your junior airmen. And it's also made to integrate the different career fields so they get to know each other. So not only are they doing something that is permissive, granted day off work while you're deployed, but it's fun. And it's teaching resilience skills. And my General Jackson deployed gave me $500 from his paycheck to get supplies for this. We pitched this to him and he said, go for it. And he let us just run with it. And so my time was just resilience program, director of A9. I didn't have time to breathe. It was great. So my day would start at 5:30 a.m. doing laps in the pool with the chaplain. She and I always end up with the chaplain somehow. She and I would swim a mile a day together. And we both got so strong doing it. And then I'd go to work and I'd kick butt at work. And I got to chase an F-16 mission to Bahrain.
Okay.
So A9 is lessons learned.
Okay.
So you're collecting after actions reports, You're compiling data, you're storing it in databases so that the next time an exercise like that is done, they already have previously existing data so they can just improve on the exercise. Or now that it's not a secure thing, we were doing the humanitarian aid.
Okay.
Because the Gaza Strip was lighting off right about then.
Okay.
Actually, that started when I was in Bahrain, and they sent me back real quick because I didn't have flak with me. But I'm alive again.
It sounds like an amazing deployment.
Oh my God, it was everything. It was everything I needed. That first few weeks was really, really hard. But after that, once I found my pace and my place and my calling, one of the resilience things that was suggested by somebody outside of our main group was, we were always asking for ideas. Somebody said, why don't we have a burn pit where we write down things that we are healing from and burn it?
Like fire ceremony.
Yeah. And we Gonzo ran with it.
He let
the sergeant who suggested it, he let him lead it. He let him line it all up, get the fire permits, everything. And so we had 3 speakers that night. And I went in there. I was third speaker. And I went in there to talk about my car wreck. That's what I was there to do. I was there to talk about my car wreck. And that's what Christy, my chaplain friend, knew. She was going to be there that night. That's what my safety lieutenant colonel he knew, and he was coming to listen that night. We had all the helping agencies on site in case anybody needed the chapel, the SARC, any of the helping agencies, all on site, because we know that these things can be very powerful and people might need resources after. 100%. So we'd done it right. And these 2 gentlemen got up and they told incredible stories of divorce, stories of wanting to kill themselves, stories of recovery from that and finding their purpose. And I went in to talk about the car wreck. And I told about my Article 15. I told about my assault. I told about my recovery, and I told them about why I was standing there that day. And it was not what I meant to do that day, but it was the most empowering thing I had done in my life until that point. And I felt absolved. I felt like I finally deserved the captain bars on my chest, because I didn't feel like I deserved them before that. I felt like an imposter. And after that, I kept going until the last day with that resilience program. I got Air and Space Commendation Medal. I got an LOA. I got all the kudos. I got a personal note from the base commander, and a push line that said that because of the program that I had stood up with the help of all my other MRTs and RTAs, that we had the lowest level of paperwork of any deployment out there in years.
Wow.
That I directly contributed to that with my actions and the actions of my team. And I felt it was awesome. I really rediscovered myself out there. That's what makes coming home from a deployment so hard. And I came home and I kind of crashed, because I'd been so high. I'd felt so valid. I had purpose. And then when I got back, I just got shoved into a desk. I got shoved into a placeholder for 6 months with not much valid work, and I started hurting again. And so I went back to therapy on my own dime. I paid for therapy that last 3 months before deployment. I paid out of pocket to continue seeing my therapist. They told me that I couldn't see her on TRICARE, but they didn't tell me I couldn't pay out of pocket.
Okay. So it just couldn't be in your records there that
Nope.
they had access to.
So I continued to see her. And then I continued to see her after the deployment when I struggled again. And Melissa looked at me. She said, "You need to call Jane now. You're not okay." And it's because there's in a deployment, whether it's a good deployment or a bad deployment, there's this camaraderie that you don't get anywhere else. These aren't necessarily your best friends, but every single one of these people will take a bullet for you.
That's right. And they're going through it with you.
They are going through it with you.
We're all the same. It's kind of like going back to basic training.
Yeah, it's a leveled playing field. It doesn't matter that I'm an officer. We're all going to the same chow hall. There's no officer chow hall.
That's right.
There's no officer clubs anymore. We're all drinking at the same bar. We're all at the bra. That's what the
bra. I remember. That's right.
The bra. I mean, yeah, I was homesick, but I collected the most incredible group of friends, and I learned how to Latin dance, and I slept on my lunch breaks. I would go back to my room and sleep on my lunch breaks just so I wouldn't miss a minute of this time with these people.
It sounds amazing the way you laid it out. It makes deploying sound fun, and I don't remember deployments being that much fun. But
deployments are what you make of them.
Of course, it's you get in that routine, and it is nice. You have that purpose you wake up to every day. You have a mission. Everybody's in it together. You're not missing out on anything. You're there with them, and it's great. I'm talking about the games and stuff that you all like. We didn't do activities. We did missions. So it's just a little bit different, but nevertheless, I miss being deployed. You know, most of the guys miss being deployed when we come back. It's just a different it's a different feeling.
Embrace the suck.
Absolutely. Yes.
I mean, it was not. I mean, it wasn't all fun and games. Actually, one of my best friends deployed. She got real sick, and I ended up in a hospital in Qatar with her, having her gallbladder out.
Wow.
And that was a wild ride. I got handed a set of car keys and told to take her to the hospital, and that I was going. I was like, wait, me? We expected to be there for 3 days. We were there for 10.
So you're in a foreign hospital in a foreign country, and you had to drive there, so you're away from the base. Like
I'd never left the base before that night, and I was supposed to forward deploy to Bahrain for this mission that we were doing, and I missed the C-130 over there, and I got back the day after everybody else had left, but I was there for my girl, and it was. I had a contractor friend come spring me from the hospital one night to get a toothbrush. Oh, I was like, do you know how much trouble I can get in for leaving? He's like, Mary, you literally need shampoo, conditioner, a toothbrush, and underwear. You got 20 minutes to collect as much as you could from her room and your room before you left.
Yeah.
You literally don't have underwear. We're going to the mall. I was like, what if somebody catches me? He's like, you're going to have a bag with underwear in it. You're going to be fine. We're going to eat while they're there too. And I'm like, I'm having a panic attack because I'm not supposed to be out on the town.
I don't know if this is allowed.
I was told later that they were like, nobody was going to yell at you for that. You literally had to get standard grocery store items. I ate some of her hospital food the first couple of days, and then I learned how to order snoo, and life was good. The food.
Oh, yes.
The shawarma.
It's the food is amazing. People forget that when we're deployed, life still happens, right?
Yeah.
You still have gallbladders burst or whatever. You still have dental emergencies.
Yeah.
And this stuff really happens, and we have to go. We got to do what we got to do.
Yeah.
Just real quick, going back to Jane.
Yeah.
The time you spent with her pre-deployment.
Yeah.
How helpful was that with you having your breakthrough?
I'll say this. I went through several therapists trying to get to the bottom of this before her. I had a couple of times where I broke down when the Kavanaugh BS was going on in 2018. I was having constant panic attacks. I was having trouble working. I was re-triggered over and over. And I tried to see mental health on base, and they suggested a med board, and I never went back. And I went to the MFLAC on base, and she was amazing. Amazing. Best MFLAC ever. And they cut her contract.
Why do we do this to ourselves?
I try again when I hit another hard part. I was being self-destructive, and Melissa called me out. And I went to Military One Source, and they gave me 10 sessions. And this therapist wanted to be my best friend, not my. There's a professional line, and she didn't break that professional line, but I could feel that she wanted to be my friend more than she wanted to be my therapist. And that's not what I need.
Yeah.
And then I found Jane, and she's a freaking battle axe. And she won't let me BS. I mean, sometimes she'd let me get away with having a fluffy session of I'm not ready to face the hard stuff. And other times she'd say, are we buckling down and doing some work today?
Good on her. She sounds amazing.
She is. And then once in a while she'd look at me and she's like, sweetheart, you're tired. We're going to have a short session today. I'm like, okay. And it'd feel like I was playing hooky from school. Because it's real therapy, and a real therapist is going to make you push yourself. Those mental muscles are just as hard to keep in shape as those physical ones. And when you've atrophied them and you've just left them for years, it's a lot of work to get them back into a place where they're healthy again.
And you keep saying it, it's work.
Yeah.
To heal, it's going to take work.
To trust, to find, to put the energy, because it's so defeating to do all the work to get to a therapist and to jump through all the paperwork and the loopholes and then find out this person's not going to work. I just started working with a new personal trainer, and I just went to meet him one day. He's like, oh, you want to do a session? I'm like, no, I just wanted to make sure you weren't a jackass.
Yeah.
He's like, that's fair. So I'll see you Monday. Like, yes.
Perfect.
But that's the thing, is you have to interview multiple therapists before you can find someone who's right. And people, if you're already having a hard time, the defeat of having to do that extra work, just the exhaustion, you're already exhausted. And the loopholes you have to jump through. It's just extra hard. And then finding out Jane was retiring. Oh my God. And she introduced me to another therapist, and I said, no, she's not going to work. And she introduced me to another therapist, and I was like, she might work. And so far, Colby's been pretty awesome. She's not Jane, but she's working with me. I know how to use the words I couldn't use before. Okay. I know how to say, I'm going to bullshit you. And she goes, you'd lie to me? I said, yes, I will absolutely lie to you. She's like, but I'm here to help you. I'm like, I am damaged. I will lie to your face and pretend I'm okay when I am not. And I need to stop doing that, which is why I'm telling you. I'm not going to get better if I lie to you.
Right.
And Melissa called me out. She's like, you don't seem to be getting anywhere with this new therapist. Are you actually doing work? And I'm like, maybe. And she's like, Mary, if you're not getting anywhere with your therapist, you need to go find a new therapist. And I'm like, I either have to make this work with somebody I already kind of like,
or you got to start all over.
Because it's hard. I like liking my therapist.
Yeah.
I don't want to be best friends. I don't want to go have a beer with you. I know that's not going to happen. But I don't want that feeling of I want to go have a beer with you. I want to be able to lay this stuff down. I'm not religious. I don't have that absolution of letting things off my chest and having an entity. And I am so envious of that. I wish I could find a higher power that I felt I could unburden myself to and actually feel like I was being honest with myself about it. So if I find a name to call that one day, I would love that, but I don't. And so I need space where I can have that feeling, where I can have somebody I can trust with those things that are weighing my soul down. And I'm jealous of people who have a God that they trust with that. I wish I could find a devotion to a religion like that. And if I do, that'd be nice. Whatever you want to call it. I've done a lot of research on a lot of different religions, and nothing sings to me.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I get that. I like what the old guy told you. That God's not mad at you. You know, this is something that you have to go through so you can tell your story.
Yeah.
And I believe that there's a book within the Bible, James, right? And in James, there's probably more places. I'm not going to pretend like I know the Bible very well, but there's probably more places in there. But I know that it's in James, and it talks about healing, right? So you've probably heard this a lot, that if you want to be forgiven, you confess your sins to God, and you'll be forgiven, right?
Yeah.
Where have you ever really heard much about healing, though? Right? Like, if you want to heal, it says you should confess your faults to your peers, right? We should talk.
Yeah, I got my therapist.
We should confess to each other our shortcomings, and that's how we heal. So when you were telling the story about, you went in there to tell the story about your car accident, and then you found yourself going a lot deeper than you originally talked about. But the healing that you got out of that when you confessed, and I'm not going to say it was your fault, right? Because it specifically says, like, we confess our faults, but you confess to your peers of something that you've been holding back on, something that's been holding you back. And even though you didn't realize it, you received a lot of healing within that. And I'm just a huge fan of talk therapy, of let's get together, let's discuss our faults, the things that we hate about each other. Let's get down and dirty with it. And a lot of healing comes out of that. So
it does.
So I'll get off the soapbox.
I just try to, don't be an asshole.
Yes. Be a great human. At
the end of the day, I try not to, do more good than I do bad. So
that's me too. I'm all about it. The Master Resiliency Training that you received. So as you started going through the resiliency training, and you said you realized at some point that you needed to heal yourself before you can really be a good resiliency trainer. What was it that kind of stood out to you with that?
I think a lot of it was that imposter syndrome, that still not feeling like I deserve to be there. There's still a lot of guilt, a lot of knowing that my actions, while not directly, could have indirectly harmed other people by removing the resource that they needed when I was deployed the first time. By taking
selfishness and things.
That my self-destructive actions had done, that my like just complete. I just self-destructed on that deployment. I couldn't deal with it. I'd never deployed, I'd done 7-8 years enlisted and never deployed. That was my first deployment. So
there's a lot of emotion that comes along with these trips, right? We talked about it a little bit before. When you joined, you leave everything and everyone that you know, right? Melissa, same thing, right? You brought her down. We lose that connection and that support chain that we have. A lot of emotion comes with that. Not having the ability to go and be face to face with somebody that you love, somebody that you know, that you trust, that you spent your whole life to that point, like building, and now we have to leave all that and start all over. So there's a ton of emotion going into a deployment. It's like rinse and repeat, right? You're going, it's going to be a whole bunch of new people that you don't know, doing a job that you're not familiar with, that you don't know. And there's a ton of emotion with that. And let's not even forget the fact that you're living in fight or flight, because any day could be your last day. You're going to a combat zone.
Qatar is not a combat zone.
Okay, it's permissive. I wasn't going to say too much,
no.
I did have a knee surgery in Qatar. They sent me from Iraq to go to Qatar to get surgery.
I mean, recently it's gotten a little dicier over there with all the things going on, but
it's still an emotional overload.
Yeah, it is. It was compounded stressors, all of them.
So once you return from that deployment, how's everything looking? I know you said, little bit of therapy back in there. You felt like
the second one or the first one?
After the second one. So you had your amazing deployment.
I felt lost. I felt a bit lost because I'd found so much, and I loved the routine, but I mean, there's a lack of the day-to-day that you have at home. I mean, wife, kid, I haven't discussed my son much, but he's on the spectrum. He can be a handful. We are constantly working with him. He's going to be able to independently live and thrive eventually. Right now, we're in this, like, we were coming up on this weird, like, he's almost wanting to launch. He was 16, 17 when I deployed that time. So he's hitting that top years of high school grade stuff, and he's a pain, and he still occasionally would dysregulate, and that's led to us being on the phone with the suicide hotline several times. And that's been very, very difficult. So one of the chaplains on Eglin helped us out with therapy for him. Family-based therapy the first few months I was deployed, because it's so hard to find a therapist for a teenage boy on the spectrum.
So again, the chaplains,
chaplains come to the rescue every time.
They are the best.
You would think that I always go to the chaplains. They're the safe space. Because I know that they can't. I know I can talk to them at any point, and it's not going to get me in trouble.
They only answer to one higher power, right?
Yep. 100% confidentiality.
It's amazing. So
Safe. So, yeah, the chapel, I mean, even the MFLACs kind of suck. I don't know. They're just, I've gone to a couple of them, and it feels like if they're busy people, and it feels like you're taking up their time.
There's nothing worse than sitting down with somebody to try to get help, and you feel like they're looking at their watch, like you're keeping them from something, and you're like, hey, sorry about my downward spiral and the fact that I need you right now to do your job.
Kind of want to go jump off a cliff right now, but you got beers at 5, buddy. No,
we can be better.
Or they're placating. I can't. I have to. We had one that we saw, and she was like, "You're so good at expressing yourself. Thank you." I don't need to be told I'm strong, or I'm so good at expressing myself. I need a safe space for vulnerability. I'm strong all the time. I get to fake it all the time, even if I'm not.
Exactly.
So I need that safe space where I don't have to be strong, where I can be emotional. I mean, I hate even crying. I mean, I don't like crying in public, in front of people. So I don't know. I'm happy to cry in front of my therapist, but it's about, and talking to you, I've been pretty open, but man, it's just, I don't like appearing weak.
It's hard. You spent your career being told you need to be strong and you need to present this.
Be badass.
Be a badass. There you go. And sometimes you need to be vulnerable and you need that safe space with people.
I hid my paperwork from just about everybody after what happened. I didn't even tell my dad. My mom knew. My dad didn't. I was embarrassed. I was scared that he'd be disappointed in me. I was scared to tell my family. And when I finally came clean, they all laughed at me. They're like, you got in trouble for brewing booze, deployed. Okay, we're not even mad.
You are from New Orleans. Makes sense.
This is kind of, but that made me check in, because I did drink occasionally, more than I should. I checked in with my therapist and I'm like, am I an alcoholic? And she's like, no, you're not. I promise you're not. She's like, you use it to numb yourself occasionally, but I have no worries that you're actually an alcoholic. She's like, you're not displaying any of the tendencies. She's like, do you want to escape occasionally? I'm sure you do. But she spent a lot of time reassuring me that I wasn't an alcoholic and that I didn't have I wasn't drinking all the time, but I mean, occasionally I would.
It was so common for the military.
Yeah.
I mean, even on some deployments to Qatar, you could have a couple of, each person could have a couple of beers.
They had 4 beer nights my last deployment, about once a month.
Yeah. And it was the norm for most people in the military to drink. Mm-hmm. And then some of us would take it to extremes. So yeah, I think in the military, it's just acceptable to have a few a night. And it's kind of the work hard, play hard mentality, go relax. And I can see how it can easily turn into it where you start thinking, I didn't drink until I joined the military. And then it's, next thing you know, you're considering yourself an alcoholic. And
yeah, and I mean, it wasn't, I wasn't drinking that much, but I was like, am I drinking too much? And I can go days without drinking now, and I'm not questioning myself anymore. Yeah. But I was questioning everything at that point. Honestly, It
sounds like you spent the majority of your career living in a fight or flight, like you worried about what people were going to do behind your back because you had so many things happen early on in your career that you just couldn't trust it. Yeah.
And I'm in a great office now. I've got a lot of autonomy, not enough work. I shouldn't say that out loud, but right. I'm on a big project, but I'm pretty good with this project right now. So I've got a little bit of wiggle room in my schedule, especially with the furlough.
We'll see how long this one goes.
Yeah, you know how we have to did you have to update a kind of a dream sheet type of deal, whether it was bases or things that you were working on?
Yeah, there's part of that going through different courses where
the professional upgrade development stuff. So I realized also with the next deployment looming that I'm up for a major this November. Is when the board meets this November, December. I'll find out next year if I make major. I'll come back on if I do. My career field is a 90% promote rate, 99% promote rate. Like, you have to fuck up really bad, like get an Article 15 to not promote in my career field.
Okay.
You have to pretty much tank your career, like DUI level stuff, assault, that type of stuff. So when I deployed this last time, I was already working on a master's degree because I knew that, they've unmasked that part of the board now, and now
Right.
you have to you better have a master's degree.
Yeah.
And I said, how can I improve my chances of showing that I have been going above and beyond? And I heard there was ways that you could get the military to pay for 2 degrees. And I started a master's degree in 2022. January of 23. Sorry. January of 23.
Started your master's.
So 2022, November, Melissa looks at me and says, you said you were going to start your master's degree. I said, I want to use tuition assistance and I can't because I'm within 2 years of my Article 15. And she's like, I don't care. Don't you have a GI Bill? And I'm like, yeah, I do. Actually, I do. I can use that. She's like, so use it. And she's like, when are you going to start it? I'm like, January.
She is smart.
And so New Year's goes by. Probably January 2nd. She looks at me and says, when are you starting your master's degree? And I said, let's do this. So I looked up at colleges and I filed for my GI Bill benefits and I started a master's in psychology because I wanted to understand myself better.
And you'd mentioned you'd always kind of had a thing for psychology as well. Okay.
So I started my degree. No, it was in 2022, wasn't it? Because I was almost done with my degree when I found out about the deployment.
Okay.
So I'm almost done with my degree, and I learned somewhere that you could get the military to pay for a second master's degree under certain circumstances. So I go to the educational office and I say, hey, Taz, how do I get a second master's degree? Because what's going to make me look better than or equal to my peers with this paperwork?
Right, more competitive.
Yeah, more competitive. Exactly. And he's like, you don't qualify, but have you finished your first master's degree on GI Bill? I'm like, no, I'm on my last class. He says, drop it. He says, you can pay for an entire degree with TA and then go back and take that last class with your GI Bill.
Brilliant.
So during my deployment, I doubled my course load. And I have, as of March of this year, I have a master's degree in psychology with a 4.0 GPA and a master's degree in business, an MBA with an emphasis on crisis management with a 3.98 GPA.
Okay, kids. So now you see you can go from being middle of the road all through middle school and high school.
Yes.
And then suck it up and knock it. That is impressive.
I love school. I love college. I love school on my terms.
You're a nerd.
On my terms, though.
That's when you go to school on your terms, it's completely different.
It sucks, especially sitting in a classroom. I learned that even on the stupid group projects where I had to interact with my classmates, it was better online. I had time to think before talking.
Sure.
Things like that. And I love writing papers. I love researching. I had such a good time learning about neuroplasticity, learning about all these the DSM-4, all the information that's contained in psychology. I learned a lot about myself, and including still shocked when I started working with Jane. She's like, you have PTSD. And I'm like, I what? I'd already started working on my degree by then, but you can't diagnose yourself.
Yeah.
Can't diagnose yourself. And all of a sudden having a name for the impending doom, the feeling, the everything that had been going on and the triggers and all of that, it was a light. It was just a light turning on and saying, oh my God, I have PTSD. And now that I have a name for it, I have something to work with, to heal from and identify. And I doubled my course load. I even tripled my course load at one point. I was a glutton for punishment, and I cranked it out.
That's incredible.
Yeah. And so now I'm still trying to stack the deck in my favor. I have a letter written to the upcoming board that I'm going to submit with my package to the board that talks about my growth and talks about recovering and overcoming the obstacles that have gotten in my way and the ones that I've created for myself, and how it makes me a better leader and that I deserve to serve in the next higher rank.
Absolutely. Your story is incredible. There is you being the Master Resiliency trainer makes perfect sense. Having lived the life that you have, you've been through so much, and again, you don't need to be told you're strong. You don't need anybody sitting over there telling you the things, but it makes sense that you're in the position. If I was in charge of talent management of your unit, that's exactly where I would be putting you too, right? Like doing in a place where you can help people from your experiences, right? If we're going to train people on going to combat and combat operations, you want people that have experience within that prior to all the wars, right? You're guessing at what that's going to look like, but now you've got all these hardened individuals that spent, the majority of their careers in war. It makes sense to use them properly. Yeah. Same rules apply to somebody with so much resiliency, somebody that's been through so much in their lives and didn't eat a bullet, kept moving forward one day after the next. When everything was stacked against them, that's where we learn and that's where we heal each other. And I cannot thank you enough for coming and being so vulnerable here and walking us through this. What advice do you have for the audience at home that's sitting in some of those places that you found yourself? I know you said it took you a long time to start using your voice and speaking up. What advice would you have?
Go back and teach it. Teach it until you believe it. That's the resilience skills that I train on a regular basis. I have to keep training, because every time I train, I identify pieces of myself that I can improve. Or some of the skills I teach are positive thinking and reframe, and these things where you have to take a situation that you're in, and you have to wrap your brain around it. It's like getting caught in traffic, getting caught behind a slow driver. You don't know what that, you're irritated because you're late, but they have a whole different set of problems. You don't know what they're going through. You don't know why they're driving slow or speeding past you or what's going on with anybody else. But the thing that you can control is your own emotions, your state of mind. And identifying the good things in your life can be really hard when it feels like everything else around you is crashing down. But they are there. They do exist. And some of them have names. That's right. And you can really count on those people. The ones that you identify in those worst moments are the ones that you need to keep yourself around.
I love that. That's great advice. So in theory, you skip a few ranks and you're working at the SecDef. You're in charge of the resiliency. Like what are you going to implement that's going to make the change that you want to see across the services?
Well, right now I'm seeing some improvements in AFSOC world. We have the POTIF program. Goodness, I wish I could tell you what the acronym means right offhand.
Preservation of the force in family.
Thank you. Good job. I appreciate that.
No worries.
So the things I'm utilizing are that we have physical therapists, we have personal trainers. Some units have psychologists embedded. So these are things that are already available to us that are paid for, and I would love to enhance those projects. And I'm seeing some reductions of funding in those with my job. I'm literally watching some of those funds reduce. I'm watching them cut a psychologist, and that's not the direction we should be going.
Yeah,
we should make safe resources available more widely. We should give our members the option of going off base for mental health. It's the stigma around mental health is still there, and it's prevalent for good reason. And when you can lose your job over saying the wrong thing or just being honest with your emotions when you're in a low point, doesn't mean you're going to act on those emotions, but sometimes the safe space doesn't feel like it's there. And to give those outside resources, I mean, having a personal trainer on hand, that alone is amazing.
it's absolutely huge.
Yeah, and that's their job, and they're contractors. They're not even GS, so they're there. They're not even gone during the shutdown right now.
Okay,
they're still around. But I've made it a point to identify those resources everywhere I go, and all of the I want the R for R funds back. I want the small things back, the fishing trips, the single airman program, SAPI, single airman. There's a program for single airmen to go do fun things like skydiving, whitewater rafting. And it's either free or incredibly minimally expensive because these funds are set aside for these programs. Fishing trips, deep sea fishing. I went fishing the week before I deployed. I caught a 40-pound grouper.
They're amazing.
He's massive.
They're huge for the soldiers. Being able to go and let your hair down and do those kinds of things is absolutely huge for morale.
Yeah.
It resets these guys and gals, and I'm with you. I think we need more funding for those kinds of programs. When you talk about losing psychologists, that's unsat. When we're not taking care of our soldiers and airmen, and it's not our highest priority. I mean, these are the ones that go and fight for us, right?
Yeah.
And guess what? Just like anything else, when you overuse it, it gets broken. But here's one thing that I will say, that 1% or 2% of the population that raises their hand, signs the dotted line, and joins, in my mind, those are some of the best Americans we have, some of the best humans we have, and we send them and we break them.
Yeah.
We owe it to them to fix them and repurpose them, right? I'm not even joking, not even a little bit. Like, that's where funding needs to be going. So when I ask you, what are the programs that you would change, like those, that's the kind of stuff I want to put weight behind, right? How do we fix these guys? How do we do preventative maintenance so they don't break? Just like treat them like a truck, right? Like, we do preventative maintenance on all of our equipment to make sure that it works when we need it to work. Why aren't we doing better with that with our people, right? You talked about if you go and raise your hand and self-select and let them know that you're having mental issues, you're potentially going to be pulled off of your job. You're potentially that position that you worked your ass off to earn. You're going to give that up now because you need to take a knee because you're having a bad week or a bad month or the sky's falling. How are we going to fix that, right? How are we going to do the preventative maintenance along the way to where the sky's not falling? You know what I'm saying?
And we got to throw money at it. I mean, at the end of the day, it comes down to budget. the scary part, and all the reductions in funding we're seeing across the board of just, we can't do more with less anymore.
Yeah, and that was definitely my career, doing more with less. I'm jaded. They fired my pain team. They fired a 4-person pain team at my last base, and I wrote an ICE complaint saying that without this dedicated support, that you're going to not only have people becoming addicted to opioids, you're going to have people kill themselves. Because my pain management team was the only thing between me and, I had my hip replaced June 4th. They were keeping me stable enough that I was getting by. And when they fired my pain team, I no longer had a good controlling grasp of my pain from my hip anymore. And I finally sought out off-base orthopedic support, and they said, "Do you want your hip replaced?" And I said, "Yes." So I am learning to walk again. June, July, August, a couple months out of surgery now. So, and it's pulling teeth. Every time I need more physical therapy, my physical therapist looked at me today and said, "You have no more sessions. You have to call TRICARE." Why am I not supported in a 6-month recovery process that states that it's a 6 months recovery process? Why do I have to re-up my physical therapy every couple weeks? There's a lot of things in the healthcare system that I don't understand, that just really don't make sense. I'll just give you a quick example. I was trying to pick up my medication that this doctor had prescribed, and after waiting 10 days and being out of the medication, I finally get in touch with somebody at the pharmacy who tells me, "Oh, yep, I got your prescription right here, but I'm not going to give it to you because you got to go see your original doctor that sent you to this doctor because the referral expired. They're only good for a year, and so you got to renew them." And it's, how come nobody told me? But again, it's on the end user, the person that needs the medication, to now go and try to see their original doctor so they can get a new referral to the doctor that just wrote this prescription. It doesn't make any sense, Mary, and I don't know why it's so broken, but it absolutely is. And when that's a medication that you have to be on, or you have to taper off of it, and you run out because of an error, now it's your life that's on the line, because a lot of these medications, those withdrawals are, some of them can absolutely send you over the edge.
Yeah. I live on baclofen and ibuprofen. Preaching to the choir here. If I quit taking the baclofen, if I quit taking it because I take it 3 times a day, I risk having hallucinations according to the side effects of the medication. So I'm lucky they prescribe me like 270 at a time.
I love how they just practice medicine with us.
It's a game. Yeah. How many times have you gotten shots in your arm before a deployment? God only knows what's in them.
We were talking about it before. It's with the anthrax vaccine, because that was a set of shots you had to get spaced out a certain way. Mm-hmm. I was always deployed, so I'd get the first one.
And not the second.
Not the second.
That happened
so then
to me
you got to
3 times.
start it again. Yeah.
Yes.
That there's so many things that have been put into us that we just have no idea of.
Yeah, I'm not an anti-vaxxer. Let me say that. But the first COVID vaccines that we were mandated to receive were not FDA compliant. Those were trials. Those were not. I will get the jab every time, but and I wanted that one big time. I was scared of COVID. But yeah, the side effects that we're hearing coming back from that is terrifying.
What a mind fuck that was, huh? Like we went through this phase right when I retired. So and you were dealing with a lot at that time.
No, I lost people to that though. I had people my own age that just died. Like
From the vaccine?
Not the vaccine,
or
from COVID.
Jeez.
Yeah, just I've lost. I don't know. I haven't lost a ton of people, but I've lost a couple people over my career. Like it's sucked, and that was a civilian friend, and he was just healthy and fine, and got COVID and died that week. It was insane. Yeah, the ones we lose suck. Yeah. Whether it's brothers in arms or civilian people. Either way.
Yeah, they're tough to get through.
Yeah. We got back. I was on R&R and I lost an airman. Motorcycle accident, and they made me they pulled me off of R&R to be a. They pulled me off of R&R to be a summary courts officer because I was the only one that could do it. And I had to catalog all of his belongings. I had to help his parents with a lot of different things on base, and it's the hardest thing I've ever done, honestly, in uniform. Out of anything I've done, that was the hardest thing I've ever had to do, is to help with this 21-year-old airman that we lost. Those
are extremely difficult taskings to be on.
I'm glad I was there to do it. I gave it the dignity and respect that it needed. I'm also like, it was exhausting. It was so hard. I had to count his socks, and then the moving crew tried to steal his video game system. It was whatever the latest game system that was out, PS4, PS5, whatever it was. They wrote it down as a PS3. And so I had to be there for the movers. It was coming right. I hadn't even been home a week.
Jeez.
And they pulled me in. I was sorry. That was.
It's a lot.
Yeah. I've seen good people get out of the military for the wrong reasons too. It's been it's been a hell of a career. I'm 16 years in, and I want to finish strong. Next step is major, and then when I pin major, it's on to retirement, smooth sailing.
Probably. Yeah, the career you described, it was, with the car accident, just that happened so early on. I'm so surprised that you stuck out a military career. I'm sure everybody is blown away at that. To come back from that alone and be able to after a hip replacement, and still be able to run PT, do all the things, being in all that pain, it speaks volumes to how strong you are. And again, I know you don't need to hear that. It's just, I'm amazed.
Thank you. I'm running again. I was released to start running very little bit, like literally 20 feet last week. So I ran for my first time in physical therapy and did a couple times back and forth. So
you are an incredible person.
I like to run. I used to love to run. I ran 6 miles the day that I was in that car wreck. So yeah.
Well, you're not letting it slow you down. That's, again, it speaks volumes. Well, Mary, thank you so much for coming out and telling us your story. I know I got a lot out of it. I know that people at home are going to get a lot out of it too. And this is going to help just let people know that you can go through stuff, horrible things, and